Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having a great day. We have a very odd news day. It's kind of all over the place and I think you'll kind of get why by the end of it. I don't think, once again, that all of this is random. I think everyone is doing what they're doing on purpose. To start things off, Zappo president Ted Rogers suggested cryptocurrency markets could face a mass extinction event as Bitcoin's fresh downturn drags altcoins even lower. In Twitter comments on the 13th of August, Rogers said current conditions may prove timely for a wipeout involving 90% of cryptocurrency assets listed on CoinMarketCap. Conversely, he added, Bitcoin trading around $6,000 provides an incredible opportunity to buy. He said we could be in the midst of the extinction level event for crypto assets that many maximalists have predicted. 90% of CoinMarketCap list will disappear eventually. Might as well happen now, end quote. He said, meantime, lower BTC price means incredible opportunity to buy more Bitcoin. It's also said on his Twitter, not going to read that out. After Bitcoin to the US dollar hit recent highs around $8,400 in late July, altcoin markets initially proved sluggish in repeating the gains, as Bitcoin right now retreated back under $6,000 this week. However, losses across the board proved significant. Ethereum trading at under 270 for the first time since September. Not really important. Responding to Rogers, Civic CEO Vinnick Lingham echoed the sentiment over altcoin, saying that despite not being a Bitcoin maximalist, he had predicted the same about the future of the market. I've also said that many times before. Lingham's CVC token has not escaped the rout. Meanwhile, currently trading at its lowest level ever in US dollar terms, almost matching all-time lows in Bitcoin data from CoinMarketCap shows. Despite Bitcoin's current lows, sentiment across the cryptocurrency industry and beyond remains positive, which is odd. We've spoken about that before. A major rally, potentially even eclipsing last year's gains, is firmly on the card, sources told mainstream media last week. I'm not going to really read the rest of it. Like I said before, we are getting into the moment where it's expected that the market is supposed to go up, and I think everyone is coming forward with their ideas or their predictions of what is going to happen in the market. And I don't think, this is me personally, I don't think altcoins are going to die just yet. I think a lot of them are very close to it, especially if you get to around 200, past 200. Keep going past that. These coins, I'm sorry if you hold them. I've told you guys before, you should probably just be focusing on the top 50. Even that far out is kind of insane. You should be in coins right now when the market is down. They should have a volume of at least 1 million, if not 3 million a day. These are kind of safe numbers when you get into coins that are having $20,000, $30,000 volume per day. That is a very bad indication that the coin you are in may be a pump and dump. I don't think we're going to have this extinction event. I think that's a bit dramatic. I think it's more wishful thinking, because I told you guys before, when all the money gets taken out of these altcoins, is going to be pumped into the top 10 coins. A lot of the people who are making hedge funds or talking about making mutual funds or retirement plans or whatever else you kind of want to talk about, or these major funds going on in Canada and Europe, when they talk about the coins that they are going to be using, it's typically the top 10 coins, and the top 10 coins are going to be very significant as we go forward. The prediction is that somewhere between coin number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, that these coins have the biggest chance of flip-flopping back and forth until one of them is firmly established. A lot of people have been saying, and I've been reading before, they said that they think by the year 2020, we will have a strongly established top 10, and that the top 10 will be very difficult to break into. You need something extremely fantastic and amazing in order to be able to hit that mark. But at the moment, this is why we see certain coins, especially Tether being one of them, being able to push its way in and out of the top 10 depending on how low or high the prices are. I'm going to say by 2021, I think this is when we will have a... 2021 is going to be the year after Bitcoin is supposed to hit its all-time highs. We can never retain all-time highs because people start to get scared and they pull out of the market. What's going to happen is that by 2021, the market is going to start to fall again. I don't know exactly when. And this is when the lower coins are going to be completely wiped out, because at this point, the next 3 years, we're going to have solid evidence. What is that? 365, that's around 1,000 days that we're going to have of coins that are actually worth it, that are actually being used, that are actually being integrated into things, and that you can actually pay for things with. So this is a bit dramatic from Zappo's president, but this is definitely going to happen. Like I think it's just a lot of wishful thinking on their parts that everything can kind of just flow directly into Bitcoin, at least right now. South Korea is in the news with some confusing news. I don't know exactly what's going on with them. The government of South Korea announced it had excluded cryptocurrency exchanges from legislation governing venture businesses in a press release issued on Monday. The brief document from the country's Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, or the SMES, and Startups, MSS, explained that contrary to previous decisions, it would now place exchanges alongside bars and nightclubs as businesses that it would not encourage as a venture enterprise. The rough translation of the part of this press release explains, and I quote, "The small and medium venture business departure of the Department of the MSS has no intention to regulate cryptocurrency trading and disclosures, ICOs, but as problems such as speculation emerge, cryptocurrency exchanges are not a target for the government to encourage as a venture enterprise," end quote. The MSS added, "We will also foster blockchain technology and related companies at the government level," end quote. South Korea continues its intense reshaping of the regulatory landscape around cryptocurrency, having begun the year with a turbulent period which ignited public unrest. Not really going to read the rest of it. It's not really too important. So it appears that now what I think they're doing is, for some, I'm not exactly, well, I get it. I was going to say I'm not sure why governments are so afraid of crypto, and then it smacked me in the face. But especially South Korea, I'm not exactly sure 100%. I think they're really terrified. I don't know. Maybe I need to brush up on my history over the last 50, 60 years of South Korea to see maybe they're really desperate to retain the power that they have monetarily. I'm not exactly sure what the whole thing is, but they've said many times before in the past that they are desperate or tried or are still trying, apparently, to make sure that crypto is not legitimate. So I think when they do this and they place it in the category of something that they would not encourage as a venture enterprise, I think it pretty much means that, yeah, we're going to allow you, but we're going to not encourage people to tell them to get into you to try and make a profit from. I don't know exactly what's going on. I saw something a day or two ago where they were talking about, I think they're very close to having the finalization of their rules for cryptocurrencies and ICOs. I think it's expected by the end of this year, which is everything is expected by the end of this year. I'm excited and interested to see exactly how they're going to market this or shape cryptocurrencies, or exactly what they're going to say about them within the country, because truth be told, there's still a lot of hype around cryptocurrencies in South Korea. A lot of people are still very much into it. We had the article a couple of days ago where they found a whole bunch of I think was it 40, 50, 60% or something like that of normal workers within the country actually own crypto and they intend to also buy more. But this has been an 8-month period where people haven't been able to actually do exactly what they wanted with crypto in South Korea. There's kind of been this gray zone and raids and all these other things. So I think once people are able to actually buy into the market and do exactly as they please, hopefully there's no major restrictions, I think this will also cause a huge bump in the country. But I'm afraid of them allowing crypto to be traded in ICOs and all these other things, and they see that it becomes too popular, the market hits an all-time high, then the government kind of tries to reel it back in. At this point, if you want to say it this way, the damage has been done. Bitcoin has more or less solidified itself in the cryptocurrency and financial world as something that is now taken seriously. So I think as we inch closer, every day that kind of goes by and every new person who figures out what crypto is and starts to get into the cryptocurrency space, this only makes crypto and blockchains a lot stronger. So I think eventually all of these efforts will be futile. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Next up, Mr. Ethereum is in the news simply because there's speculation around why the price of Ethereum dropped about a day or two ago, especially when we were talking about the tethering, if you will, of Ethereum's price also to the prices of other altcoins. So now we have a situation where when Bitcoin falls, altcoins fall, or when Ethereum falls, altcoins also fall, because they're also tethered to the price of Ethereum as far as being denominated in ETH. Within a period of 2 weeks, from August 1st to the 14th of August, the price of Ether, the native cryptocurrency on the Ethereum network, dropped by 44%. In 14 days, the price of Ethereum plummeted from $470 to $260, reaching its lowest point in 2018 by falling below the $300 mark for the first time since early November 2017. The entire cryptocurrency market experienced a steep decline of valuation, losing nearly $150 billion of its valuation in a month. But Ether, which performed particularly well against the US dollar, amongst other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, quickly became one of the worst performing digital assets in August. Today, that's yesterday, even after suffering such a large drop in price, Ether dropped 18% of its value against the US dollar, declining from $300 to $260 within a 12-hour span. While other cryptocurrencies did experience major drops in value, Bitcoin, for instance, only lost 6% of its market cap against the US dollar. Throughout this week, many analysts, including Eric Wall, a leading cryptocurrency researcher at fintech company Cinnober, stated that blockchain projects, which raised hundreds of millions of dollars in Ether in the past 12 months, dumped the digital asset on the public cryptocurrency exchange market, creating a domino effect across major exchanges. And I'll get back to that in 1 second. He said, and I quote, "The problem when you give millions of Ethereum to Ethereum competitors is that they can unload the Ethereum on the spot market and short Ethereum on the futures market before that. So they're not only securing the funding, but also manipulating the underlying spot market in favor of their shorts. It is important to acknowledge that the amount raised by ICOs in their token sales do not necessarily mean new capital coming into the market, but rather existing capital stored in major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether moving to ICOs. Hence, if ICO participants allocate millions of dollars in Ether to token sales, and the developers conducting the token sales dump the capital raised in Ether on the cryptocurrency exchange market, it indirectly becomes a massive sell order. Consequently, the Ethereum exchange market has suffered in the last 3 months as ICOs continued to dump large amounts of Ether on the market. Don't really have to read the rest of it. So we have a situation now. I don't know if you guys remember. It was the beginning of, June or something like that? Whenever EOS launched, there was articles out, and I read them as well, and they were talking about that the people behind EOS had managed to raise, I think they raised, like $4 billion altogether and stuff like that, but there was a calculation of exactly how many Ethereum that they actually had as well, and I think it was like a high 6-digit number or something like that. I can't remember the exact number. There was a lot of speculation every single time that this wallet or these wallets moved their Ether, especially when some of them got put onto cryptocurrency exchanges, that the price of Ethereum would go down. People were calculating, saying, no, that really wouldn't happen. The issue is that not a lot of people calculated the other coins that have been built on top of Ethereum. You have to understand this is about money. I'm sure you've all seen documentaries and movies and the ones with the bad acting and stuff like that. But something that what it comes down to is EOS and Tron and all these other coins were built on top of Ethereum on purpose. They did that because while they were receiving funding for their ICO, it would be funded in Ether. This is why all of these coins have come together and in their own special way have claimed that they are better than Ethereum. Because after all this, I'm sure at some point, I don't know these people, I don't know when this happened, but rest assured, at some point, at least 5 of these projects got together and they coordinated when they talked about when they were going to dump all of their Ether. Because when you have low volume, when prices are down, like they are right now, and you have 5 companies who are probably going to be dumping anywhere from $10 to maybe $70 million worth of Ethereum, that's not including EOS. At the same exact time, you have huge drops in price. And this is kind of where we are right now. One of the main issues is, and I'm sure you've realized it as well, Ethereum cannot scale. The things that we have been promised or told about since 2016 are not here yet. And the things that they told us that we would have in May 2017, we still do not have. And now they're saying that we may not have them until 2019 or until 2020. And this causes a major problem, not only for the price of Ethereum, but for the project itself. A lot of projects or ICOs, whatever you want to call them, these new tokens that are coming out, a lot of them have noted that if they are already on Ethereum, they're leaving Ethereum. If they thought about being built on top of Ethereum, they're now going to EOS. They're now thinking about going to Cardano when it officially launches, I think in some Q3 or something like that. Some of them have talked about going to Stellar. I think one or two of them talked about going to Tron or something like that. The point is, the purpose of the Ethereum platform being its own platform, and therefore kind of like its own internet, where you can build websites and apps and dApps and maps and all these other things on top of it, is not that it's crumbling, but this is what I feared a couple of months ago. I hoped that Ethereum would have gotten it together by now. First of all, this isn't an easy task. You know, when you're trying to build these upgrades and stuff like that, they have been testing a lot of them, and they have been doing what they've been doing. You can't release these things too quick, because heaven forbid, should there be some type of problem in the code that allows people to then either crash the Ethereum network, destroy the blockchain, or cause them to lose your coins, people would lose their minds. It's a double-edged sword. I hoped that Ethereum would have gotten it together right by now. I have a feeling that this may continue again. All it takes is a coordinated dump. You have to, it's just kind of realistic at this point. We were speculating a couple of, 2 or 3 days ago, like exactly why the price of Ethereum just started completely dropping, and no one could figure it out. And now I guess it all kind of makes sense. I told you guys there was no real bad news, and there wasn't. The only news apparently was that the people who were building on top of Ethereum, and there are so many projects being built on top of Ethereum, and I think it's just being done to kind of spite them now. If they were able to even do maybe 10 times as many transactions or something like that, or even, mainly transactions. I think Ethereum can do around 150 per, there was a B outside. Sorry about that. I was looking at the B. Ethereum can basically do 15 transactions per second. If they were able to do at least 150, this would be not an issue. I was listening to, I think there's a podcast called ICO Alert. I think that's the name of it. And I think they were focusing on EOS last episode, and they were talking about the stress tests that are still being put onto the EOS network. And I think they just, what was it, like 5,000 transactions or something like that? People keep continuously trying to push it. And this is before, first of all, a lot of projects are already starting to be built on top of EOS, and this is only kind of the beginning. Ethereum really needs to get it together. I didn't mean me to spend too much time talking about Ethereum and the price drop of Ether, but I guess this kind of makes a bit more sense as to why everything happened. I guess, we know why this has happened, but there's so many other projects that are still built on top of Ethereum that are going to be doing the same. If we end up getting to, it doesn't have Ethereum's price up here. If we end up getting to a $200, $150, maybe $100 Ethereum, that is going to be I think a huge wake up call, because I'm pretty sure Vitalik and everybody else who's working on the project, they definitely see the prices. I'm pretty sure they have a huge flat screen somewhere in the office where they can look at the prices of all the coins, and I think they understand what's going on. This may light a fire under them. I don't know exactly how much has to be written, how much more testing has to be done, but Ethereum is looking like it could lose its number 2 position to a number of other coins if this continues, if they don't really get it together. Next up, Bitcoin is in the news. Nick Carter, a well-respected cryptocurrency researcher, has said that Bitcoin has surpassed the over-the-counter gold market in settlement volumes, even amidst a 70% drop in price. According to the clearing statistics of the London Bullion Market, or the LBMA, 5 major clearing members of the LPMCL, including HSBC, ICBC, Standard Bank, JP Morgan, Scotiabank, and UBS, the global gold over-the-counter market, is on track to settle $446 billion in 2018, having settled less than $30 billion on a monthly basis since January. In contrast, based on the data provided by Coinmetrics, a cryptocurrency data provider cited by Carter, the Bitcoin market has already processed $848 billion this year and is on track to surpass $1.38 trillion by the end of this year. They have all the numbers, not going to read all that out. Given that LBMA account for an almost 70% of the global over-the-counter volume at $848 billion, Bitcoin has already settled more volume in the past 8 months than the predicted settlement volume of the entire gold market in 2018. Carter said, and I do quote, "I'm conservatively estimating that London over-the-counter market for gold, overseen by the LBMA at 70% of global volumes, They publish clearing statistics. With these, I can estimate that total net volume of regulated gold settlement at 446 billion for 2018, based on 6 months of data. Conservatively adjusted estimates, Bitcoin has settled 848 billion this year, isn't on track to settle 1.38 trillion. Bitcoin, it appears, has quietly surpassed the over-the-counter gold market in settlement volumes. This has been a discussion for quite some time, as Bitcoin is now being known as digital gold. We've been talking about, this has been the topic for 3 years now, 3+ years, as to when Bitcoin, first of all, when Bitcoin pushed by the price of gold, that was already a big thing. I think gold was at $1,200 per ounce. And when Bitcoin, I think, hit 13, the world completely lost its mind. It was all over the headlines. You can still find this if you type in like Bitcoin passes gold. I'm pretty sure you'll find all the things about it. And now that the fact that Bitcoin volume or Bitcoin purchasing power, whatever you want to call it, has pushed by gold, that is something incredibly significant because Bitcoin's price has been down. Bitcoin is down by 70%. Imagine if Bitcoin hadn't been falling. Imagine if Bitcoin had been going up this entire time. Bitcoin, as we know, is rarer than gold. I've actually noticed a number of gold bugs or silver bugs, if you want to call them that. Hello, welcome to the channel. Commenting in the comment section below, who are now into crypto as well. They believe in the power of gold and Bitcoin. I think a lot of people are realizing that Bitcoin or crypto in general is great because it can be fractioned off. You know, gold can be, you can hit it with a hammer or knife or pick, whatever you use to cut down gold, and you can sell it that way, but it's very difficult for you to get it to once from New York to Tokyo in a matter of seconds like crypto can do. I think this is only going to continue, and I don't see the price of gold really dropping. I think it's been steadily sliding sideways over the last couple of years or something like that. But this is very significant. I want you guys to always never ever forget that Bitcoin is only 9 years old. And the fact that this is happening is kind of completely insane. At least I think so. It leads me to wonder where we will be in another 9 years, where the cryptocurrency market will be, because this isn't going to slow down. This isn't going to stop, regardless of what the prices are right now. Keep in mind all the news that I constantly bring you guys and I talk about, and all the things that are being incorporated in some of these banks who have also been talking about cryptocurrency, and I'm sure they're also buying it as well. When we hit the $1 trillion Bitcoin market cap, I think that is going to be one of the craziest days in the financial world. And I think a lot more people who already haven't taken notice will definitely start throwing their money at Bitcoin. Last up, this is a bit really crazy. So there's this event going on. I'll just kind of read through it. You'll kind of see what's going on. This is why I said the news is kind of weird, but it kind of all fits into each other. I'm still of the belief that everyone is trying to push their favorite coin because of where we are in the year right now. The second day of Las Vegas Blockchain Week and the Chain Exchange Blockchain Convention has concluded. Today's activities included discussions and lectures carried out by prominent cryptocurrency supporters and skeptics, including representatives from Ripple and NEM, as well as Nobel Prize-winning economist and perpetual crypto bear Paul Krugman. In the afternoon, research analyst heavyweight Thomas Lee, Paragon CEO Jessica Versteeg, and celebrated economist Paul Krug gave speeches on cryptocurrency before joining Ripple chief socialist strategist Corey Johnson and Department of Justice pioneer of the first cyber investigative task force Lillian Infante. Thomas Lee, who has been recognized as a top 3 research analyst every year since 1998, gave a bit of background on the strategies he used to successfully predict major market movements from the .com to real estate eras. Lee looks at concrete data and statistical trends rather than market sentiment to make his analysis. When applied to blockchain, Lee sees a very strong future for cryptocurrency alongside an inevitable increase in bargaining power of millennials. Lee often appears on CNBC to share his bullish sentiments, and he has recently been quoted calling for a $22,000 Bitcoin price by the end of the year. Steve gave a quick presentation about the product traceability, which is the core focus of her company, Paragon. Paragon's focus is, my gosh, my English is just tearing apart this entire video. Paragon's focus is authentication of medical marijuana products for consumers to ensure they are getting the exact composition of or strain that is advertised from products. Krugman followed with a speech about the history of money, why it plays a role in society, and how each generation of money expands societal possibilities and functions, from pebbles to gold to paper money and so on. Being the skeptic that he is, Krugman then referenced the energy consumption of Bitcoin to compare it to the mining of physical gold, and that Bitcoin essentially takes money backwards several hundred years. He did, however, preface his criticisms with the statement that he only halfway understands Bitcoin, because of course he does. Before I continue on this topic, I think he was actually in the news about 4 or 5 days ago. He said this before on television as well, before he said this in this conference. When people look to throw dirt on or spit on or tear down cryptocurrencies, especially when it comes to things that are proof of work, I get it. Proof of work is not the greatest. I think Bitcoin will always be on proof of work. Let me make that clear. But what the only argument that they have now against the validity of Bitcoin is the mining. This is energy intensive. This is going to destroy the earth. This is going to be a problem. What they don't usually understand, and what they haven't been reading, is that there are tons of companies who are now moving to solar power, who are moving to wind power, who are moving to hydroelectricity. They're looking for alternative ways because they understand that it's energy intensive, and they more or less understand because the cost is coming out of their pockets. So they're looking for ways to build entire solar farms with tens of thousands of solar panels to be able to cut the cost to the side and to not destroy the earth as much. So this is usually one of their main arguments. And usually you can tell if you find a Bitcoin skeptic, that's why I always say do your own research. It's important to know about, let's say, about 5 to 10 things about cryptocurrencies, what proof of work is, what proof of stake is, how mining works, the purposes of cryptocurrencies, the speed and transaction volume, how many transactions per second, and a little sprinkle bit of other coins, even coins you don't really care about, because you can always tell somebody who has no idea what they're talking about, who's not into cryptocurrencies, or who doesn't want to learn about cryptocurrencies. Just throw some facts their way, or ask them questions that you know that they won't know. Don't want to make them feel stupid is the nice word, but just let them understand that they don't know everything, and there is still a lot to learn, because a lot of people, as I always say, are going to be very upset, possibly even at you. I just pointed at my screen, in a couple of years, when you have made money from crypto and other people find out that you have made money from crypto. They're not going to be too happy, and they're going to say, why didn't you tell me? And you're going to remember these moments, saying, I told you so. You only halfway understood what cryptocurrency was. Anyway, let's move on. After Krugman, the 5 engaged in discussion about the future of Bitcoin, blockchain technology, and cryptocurrency as a whole. Lee and Versteeg shared quite optimistic views about the future of all 3, while Krugman, of course, and Infante were far more pessimistic, asserting their belief that Bitcoin really doesn't have much use for the average person. Ripple marketing strategist Corey Johnson surprisingly shared similar views with the first 2, essentially enforcing his belief that Bitcoin sucks but Ripple is great. Aside of Bitcoin, the skeptics indicated that they do see an impactful future for blockchain technology, with the exception of Paul Krugman, who maintained his position as blockchain agnostic. The highlight of the discussion undoubtedly came from Jessica Versteeg, who passionately and adamantly countered the critiques of the skepticism in the room. When Krugman asserted that Bitcoin has no value, Versteeg cut him off, insisting that, for her and many others, Bitcoin is used every day and for them certainly has value. Yeah, I said volume. Your value. Versteeg, also known for her appearance in The Amazing Race, did not know that, cited frequent issues with her credit card company abroad and difficulty in paying her overseas workers as examples in which Bitcoin certainly makes sense to use. She went on to add, I book flights, I book hotels, I pay workers with Bitcoin. It has value to me because I like it. Very interesting. We didn't really hear much news about this event that was happening. I assume it was mainly people kind of discussing with banks and or people who are looking to get, the institutional people who are probably in the audience who just probably didn't have any idea about what was going on. So probably a major overview of exactly what was going on. For some reason, people still don't understand. I can understand if you think crypto is inflated, if you think that the value of certain coins is far too high, but when you say that these things have no value, you aren't really paying attention. I wonder how many of these people actually want to know about crypto, and that if you look back at once again documentaries, if you read books about the past and when paper money was introduced, people didn't want to use paper money because they said paper money has no value. Why are we using paper money when we could use chunks of gold and or chunks of silver in order to pay people, as people had done for thousands of years? And the people got used to paper money simply because it was easier to have 5,000 pieces of paper in your wallet than it was to have 5,000 pieces of gold. I think it's still, I want to say generational. That's not to say that everyone from this generation is not going to understand, because a lot of people definitely do. But we are, I don't think it's really a discussion anymore if crypto is going to make it. I think it's more of a discussion which coins are going to make it. But there's so many people who are still fighting against this. And I just think it's kind of ridiculous. I guess I'll say this as well. I was going to put this into a video, but I really didn't. It's way too much for my brain. I was thinking about how much backlash or how much pushback we have from countries and from economists and from analysts who just don't really want to understand the cryptocurrency space or aren't really interested in understanding the cryptocurrency space. And I was reading an article earlier, and it was talking about the Venezuelan president has now mandated that everyone in the country, I think if you are being paid, if you're buying groceries, it's like 5 different things, like really important things that you're doing every day in your life. He has mandated that everyone has to now use the petro, which is the Venezuelan cryptocurrency. And I thought, and I was like, wouldn't it have been something historic if he had said or had encouraged people to, or had mandated that people had to use Bitcoin, or at least like maybe the top 5 crypto out there. He told them, this would, these are going to be used because they're far more stable, because a lot of people aren't really too happy with his digital coin right now. But I don't know if it has to do with greed. This isn't really on the topic of this anymore. This is kind of on the thing that I didn't have in this video, but I think it's still important to talk about. I wonder exactly what it is, like what the backlash is. Maybe he just doesn't think that Bitcoin could, or Ethereum or any other coin could be viable as the currency of the country, but this is going to continue happening. So many other countries are going to start creating their own altcoins, creating their own coins, their own cryptocurrencies, and they're going to completely fall. And I'm like, you're wasting time. Imagine if you had incorporated Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, and random coin number 5 as the coins that your country was going to be using. Not only would this increase crypto adoption, got that part, but just how much it would actually help other people in these other countries. Whatever, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Don't even have the tab open in here, so it's not really that important. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening. I told you the news was a little odd today. This is not all of it. Didn't want to cram too much in one video. Thank you once again for watching and or listening, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.